We can go about our business.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, I'm Steve.
Move along.
I play video games in the Blind Gamer Podcast. It's actually a very special edition of the Blind Gamer Podcast because I actually have a guest if you want, but it's gonna be very chill.
He has guests in my studio. How the heck does that happen?
It's whoever trademarks it first.
There you go. Right? That's what started.
Speaking of trademark, where's the goddamn bill?
Where's our on the
All right, ready to go.
on the one? How profane are we allowed to be? Because it's
that's true.
Yeah, we need to.
I'm gonna, okay, I will say this. I am normally not profane, but you guys can be as profane as you want. It's really cool. I'll give this the explicit tag just for you guys.
You know what? I think we should try to clean it up.
Okay, Tim.
So Brandon, no swearing from you.
That's right.
He's the worst one. So as you can hear, there's quite a few people that are on the mic today. So why don't we'll introduce ourselves from my left, your right.
Okay, everybody. Hi, how you doing? I'm T. Morris.
You have good taste.
And then over to my left.
I'm Brandon.
It's not over until I sing, Garden. And I never sing.
And then
I'm Nick Kelly.
If the light really is with you, send the hive back to hell.
And then there's our
Jones.
Our
Well, I
host
almost
again.
already almost got the E-tag right there.
Almost.
So close.
So freaking close.
And then because now I've worked in the drop-ins as being a guest on his podcast.
Right.
I'm Steve Saylor.
I'd hate to have to throw you off this wall.
Oh, that's
our girl.
As the Canadian in the group, that's I don't know. That's some topic to talk about a wall.
No, you guys are getting funding for the hedge.
Right,
You know,
the
for
hedge,
the,
yes.
for the,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the,
yeah,
for the hedge. It's going to be a giant border hedge.
The mooses are going to build.
I may have been watching Super Troopers 2 at like 2 o'clock this morning again. So yeah,
Sorry,
feeling my
everyone.
Canadian.
Canada is closed. Moose up front should have told you.
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys about a show actually that I introduced T and Pip to a little bit of it. But
Oh,
it
dear
is
God, guys.
absolutely hilarious.
It's not Letterkenny.
It is.
Oh
Letterkenny.
yeah, what a score! All right.
Oh my gosh, I love that show. Have you guys seen it? Have you guys watched it?
Yeah, I may have a shared box folder from one of our cousins that has all of them.
You can actually. It is on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah,
It does
Hulu,
not surprise me at all, Nick, that you watch that.
I have a
When the
Hulu
hockey
account
guys
for
came
one reason, and it is Con Man.
Oh, is that where Con Man finally wound up?
Yeah. That's,
Oh wow,
yeah.
I may have to get a Hulu account for that because I loved season 1.
Yeah.
I loved season 1.
Well, that's because you've lived all of it. Any of us who've been like, we were just at a con this weekend, and all those people. I'm like, yep, I can
Yeah,
tell.
Yep,
Yeah,
that guy, that deck.
Yeah.
I know that dude.
Right.
Oh God, I know that dude.
Right? Can I please have the microphone back? Q&A doesn't mean just you for 25 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, look, I have a drop-in for that. Give me 1 second, and I will pull it up. I believe I believe it is. Oh shoot, where is it? Oh, there it is.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Think about that. Okay,
So you guys have introduced yourselves, but like for those who in my audience that don't know who you guys are, why don't you explain a little bit about your podcast and what you do?
well, why don't we start with Nick because I'm the great enabler.
You guys got like 4 or 5, 10,000
Between us,
projects
yeah.
between you guys.
T wants to bat cleanup is really what it is. 'Cause
That's true.
right,
That's true,
we don't
man.
get to say award winning until we get to the T Morris, the T Monster.
Right.
See, I can do this.
I
I can do this on my video. I just can't because
That's right.
it doesn't translate very well in
I
audio.
can say this, that I'm also an award-winning podcaster.
See?
So.
Well, then we've bookended the studio properly. Thank
But
you
I
very
haven't
much.
won an award since 2007, so I don't know how much that counts.
It doesn't matter. What you
I say you and I just
Once you
hightail
get
out
one,
of here.
you'll say, okay.
Yeah, you just get to keep that honor.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nick.
Yep. All right.
Kick it
So
off.
so here we go. So I'm Nick Kelly. I am along with Brandon here, one of the hosts of the Geek Wolfpack podcast and the ADHD D&D Dungeons and Dragons gameplay podcast.
Found that.
those two. Yep.
Yeah.
Found that.
ADHDDND.com or GeekWolfpackPodcast.com or GeekWolfpackNetwork.com. Spoilers. Okay. And then I'm also a cyberpunk author. I write the Leon Catwalk Caliber
Good stuff.
series. Yeah,
Good
book
stuff.
5 comes out in less than a month on what would be Brandon Lee's birthday.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, man.
Yep.
And then
I don't know. I'm here.
He's pretty shelled out. He's had a busy couple of days.
Brandon's a modest teenager, to say the least. This isn't that age sort of thing. Brandon is just literally that tired.
Yeah.
You are like the busiest teenager I know.
I love it. You told me, what'd you say? You had three, basically you have three emotions.
Oh yeah. Happy, tired and mildly uncomfortable.
That sounds about right.
We
Yeah.
were getting food at the the supermarket, and he's just standing there with the empty container, and I go, "They don't have what you're looking for," and he goes, "There's a lady standing in front of it, and I'm socially awkward." And he's just standing there like he won't.
Oh my God! Do you realize what this is? You are Virginia's sad Keanu.
Yeah.
You are Virginia's sad Keanu, sitting there. You gotta turn it to a meme, baby.
I'm only confident in game.
Yeah, that's true. See, Brandon talks incredible smack, especially at me.
It's only if I'm comfortable with you, man. That's
yeah, well, I hear you.
I just appreciate you don't direct that in my direction whenever we're on the Blind Leads the Blind.
Well, no, because you shoot better than T.
See, I'm
There it
gonna
is.
take that to the grave. I shoot better
There
than
it
T.
is.
Right.
There
I'm
it
telling
is.
you, the only thing we're missing is I can't wait. God, listen to me, Bungie. Listen to me. Listen to me good. Sparrow Racing League, Blind Leads the Blind. That's what we
my
need.
God.
That's what we need.
The closest thing we have to that is right now there's a raid, which I still gotta set this up with. First, we got to get you into the clan.
Yeah.
Because Danfinity, Dan wants to get basically if you hang out with us. He wants to be part of the clan. It's like he's collecting this Virginia contingent as like Pokemon.
Right.
He got all of us, then he got Coach.
Needs to get my wife.
Then he gets to get wife, then he's got to get you, and he's gonna be like, I have the entire set.
Right.
That'll be a party of 6, unless
exactly.
I counted wrong.
Play the
But the
worst
thing
game
is-
of checkers ever.
But we got to figure out how to get you into a raid. Now, granted, the problem with Scourge is that you got to be 630 or higher to get through it. And
Yeah.
but at one point there is a segment.
I'm not even
where it
close
is
to
kind of
that.
a Sparrow Racing League kind of thing in Scourge, and I watched it and it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But it's very
Wait,
cool.
that's actually a thing. I thought there was like legitimate, like just a thing that people just do, like just regular racing. But
Oh,
that's
no.
actually
In
a thing.
D1, there was
In
a Sparrow
D1.
Racing League.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
D1
yeah.
there was a Sparrow Racing League, and I was terrible at
It was a limited time thing.
It was.
I never got to play it.
You never.
I
you
never did.
Played it?
No.
Wow.
I wasn't
Oh my
invested at
God.
that time,
Oh,
and
I,
it was-
I hated it. That was all PC Herring wanted to do. That's
That
all
doesn't
Cybernetic
surprise
Shadow wanted
me.
to do. He just wanted to do that, and I was like, fine. And of course, 6th position, there be, and I hated it.
There's an accelerator on those. I don't know if you...
Yeah, I know. So anyway, but yeah,
It's your
Brandon.
introduction, yeah.
Yeah, but I was going to say a little bit more about Brandon. Brandon, how many different choir groups are you part of in your freshman year?
2.
Yeah, 2. So he's coming in strong that way. And then
He beats me by 1. I was in the choir like pretty much all throughout high school, except for like my last 2 years where I was like in the vocal jazz.
Oh.
And I can't do it anymore because I was a tenor, and now just like that's when my voice dropped. Really badly. And I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm a bass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you
it's all
tell?
about that bass.
I stopped at tenor. I'm good right where I am. I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I know my line. I know my role.
But I don't know. Like T was like he was gonna introduce himself, and then all of a sudden he starts.
He's the author of Twitch for Dummies, which
Yes,
is
yeah.
fresh. Look at this.
Which is sitting
right
freshly
here.
off
Just
the
sitting right here.
presses.
Was it that I got the first copy? Is that what?
Yeah, you did. You
yeah.
you got the first copy.
And all you had to do was spend a couple hours fixing his audio.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that was the exchange
It was
rate.
I was going to say take the hint, but
That's why I wrote the book. I'm just going to say it. The thing is, so this is the thing. I even said this to you. I said this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can write a book. Doesn't mean you know everything. Does not mean you know everything. I was like, I remember saying on stream. Right, I remember saying on stream when I was doing the whole testing of the audio, and it was getting worse. The the mix amp that I was using to connect the PS4 with the PC was now randomly cutting off.
Mm-hmm.
It just cut off and then come back on again, and I'm like, why is this happening to me? And
Buffering.
no, what it was
I think it's actually like, believe it or not, I think it was like a power issue. There's something that's like it's not giving enough power to run at the same time as everything else.
whatever ridiculous reason. It was just
Yeah.
one more thing, and I said I got to fix this. And Steve was like, well, while I'm here, I can do this. And again, why not? Because yeah, Steve is blind. Doesn't mean he's an idiot. He works for a radio station. If anyone is going to be able to figure this out, it's going to be this guy.
Why
So-
wouldn't you have a blind guy as your audio engineer? It makes perfect sense.
yeah.
Right?
Believe it or not, we have. I'm not the only blind person at the radio station I work for. We do have a blind engineer. That he's a producer, and he is the funniest guy that I've ever worked with. He does this thing every Halloween. We have Igor hosting our radio show, and he does this whole production like theater of the mind type thing, and he plays Igor the entire night on Halloween as if we're broadcasting live from Boom, Sylvania, because the station's Boom 97.3, and we call it Boo 97.3.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
That's cool. So anyway, yeah, within 2 hours, all the audio issues that I had. Well, no, let me rephrase that. in an hour and a half, all the issues that I have been struggling with for the past 3-4 months were resolved. And
Well,
some
not
of them.
all of the issues.
Oh,
The audio. Audio issues.
There it
Oh, no,
is.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So Steve figured out some things. Steve and I figured out some things out together, so I didn't feel like I was completely lost. It was a really nice little coming together. The last 30 minutes though, this 2-hour euphoric ride through Twitch. Steve was like, okay, let's fix some other things here. Now, because originally I was playing my PS4 through OBS. And I knew, I never mentioned this on stream because I knew this is not the way it's supposed to be.
No, your chat would have ripped you apart.
Exactly. So I'm like, this is not the way it's supposed to be, but I'm just gonna run with it and figure what's the problem later. I knew it had something to do with the fact that I had that monitor hooked up to DisplayPort, not HDMI. I knew that. So I just had to figure that out. Then Steve's there going, well, T, why don't you just hook up HDMI? And I said, because I don't have the port for it. We then look in the back, and sure enough, the Elgato had one more port left. And it was for HDMI. And I said, well, F me. And we then hook it up. And then, but there was one really nice thing that came out of it, apart from just fixing the video. Now I can play it without playing it through OBS. But then I said, okay, Steve, this is what it looks like through PS4. This is Destiny 2 through PS4. He's like, okay. This is what it looks like through a PC. Click, and the blind guy went, oh, oh. So that's a testament to Bungie right there. Bungie, your pixels are so on point in Destiny 2, a blind guy can notice.
Correct.
So there, correct.
That could be taken.
I want that as a drop-in, by the
Yeah.
way.
I'll give you that.
Correct.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
going to let you cover the next segment without me because we started and everybody asked, "What do you want? Something to drink?" But nobody said take a bio break. So I'll be right back.
I'll go right ahead. That means I can go ahead and do my bio. So yeah, I'm the author of Twitch for Dummies. This is the latest the latest of my works. Much like Steve, much like Nick, I am also an author. I'm an award-winning author and podcaster, and I am the guy that came up with the wacky idea. And actually, it was during ADHD D&D.
It was.
I said, guys, we should do a Destiny podcast. And I believe right after those words left my lips, I think Pip said, "Shut up, T." Shut up, T. Because I was actually working at the time. I was working on the 3rd edition of Podcasting for Dummies.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we launched it.
And I still don't think that episode has aired.
Which one?
The one where you say Twitch for Dummies.
Which one? What do you mean? What was that?
You
Where I
just
said Twitch for Dummies?
when you were talking about the idea.
Oh, of doing Twitch for Dummies.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that
Oh.
episode still hasn't aired.
Of ADHD.
Yes.
Oh, come on. He's what, a year and a half behind?
I think two
Yeah.
whole years.
Wait,
I think
yeah.
You
it's
guys record that far ahead, or is it just that far behind?
we're just that far behind.
Yeah. So here's basically what happened. With every episode of Geek Wolfpack podcast, there was a segment called ADHD D&D.
Okay.
And for a while, Nick was doing pretty well, keeping up. But then the thing was, we were doing more D&D than they were recording episodes.
Okay.
So it started to get further behind, to a point now where I think I haven't. Brandon is right. I haven't even mentioned writing Twitch for Dummies.
Yeah.
And we're at the segment where I said, "Hey guys, let's start a podcast." We started Happy Hour from the Tower a year and a half ago.
Right.
And I just mentioned this on ADHD D&D like last week. So Nick finally said, "Screw it. I'm going to just go on ahead, edit some of this stuff, and then make it a separate podcast all by itself, and then just pre-schedule all these events, pre-schedule all this stuff." I mean, at one point, if Nick wanted to, he could do like a Dungeon Palooza, and like every day schedule a different episode of ADHD D&D for the summer, and probably still not get caught up. I mean, it's legendary.
That's better than the RPG podcast that I've done.
And that is not slamming Nick, because when Nick said, "Yeah, I'm going to make this a segment of the podcast," in the back of my mind, I was thinking, "Oh, Nick, what fresh hell are you cutting for yourself, man?" Because trying to stay current and caught up with a role playing podcast. I mean, the guy that does the Steamrollers Adventure podcast, first off, the guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Secondly, in post production, he throws in music, sound effects. It's
I'm not doing that.
No, you're not. No, for the love of God,
tried.
no.
Because as a kinship, I used to run a RPG podcast called Terrible Warriors. We used to call it These Warriors Are Terrible.
Right.
But then the
acronym.
The acronym.
I got you.
Yeah, that was a little bit. We
Right.
were like, okay. So
That's why we don't do This Week at the Tower, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fair.
see?
That's fair. Yeah. So we changed to Terrible Warriors, but we were recording episodes. So we had it so that every month would be a whole brand new story, and we weren't tied to specifically D&D. We did a whole bunch of RPGs.
That's cool.
And so we would schedule 4-hour recording sessions, but the story had to start from beginning to end in those 4 hours. And each hour was its own episode. So we figured, okay, we'll record once a month, and then we have a full month's worth of episodes.
Right.
But by the time we got down to sitting editing, we just do not have the time to do all the production stuff we wanted to do.
Right.
So we just did straight like intro, extra, and put it out.
So this actually is less work. Doing it the way that I'm doing it now, splitting them into 2 podcasts is less work because, first of all, it's 2 different types of editing. Right.
Yeah.
So when it's the Geek Wolfpack podcast is essentially it's Brandon's mom, and myself, and we just talk about whatever is like relevant in pop culture, gaming. Like because he finishes a game every 3 days. This kid, and she blows through 20 books in like just sitting there with something on the background or whatever.
And
Yeah.
Nick
Right.
is like his walking Spotify. It's like every day he's got a different album in his head.
That's awesome.
Along with the voices, which makes it good.
We don't talk about
That way the
that.
voices have something to listen to. But
That's good.
But-
I like that.
but what was happening was
we
I don't know how long we were going to go talking about whatever we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because there's one episode that's just Brandon and I talking about The Office, for fuck's sake, excuse my language. But there's one where
There's the
it's,
E-tag.
it's the 3 of us. I figured by now he had already tripped it, but maybe I
No.
It's
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It's more of like as long as I don't, then I'm okay.
Okay, well we can fix it in post.
Yeah.
Fix it in post.
But editing that is putting up the show notes with a bunch of links to whatever we're talking about, and
Yeah.
and so that's just it's a little time consuming to go find all the links and everything. Then it was okay. So how long did we talk, and then how much D&D do I have to cut to fill the rest of that episode?
Yeah.
And so I never knew. Right now, doing just the roleplay podcast by itself is here's the intro. I already record. I just play that every one. Here's whatever an hour that I have to go through and edit and get down to 45 minutes or whatever, right? And then here's the outro. So I can do all of them
Yep.
like in a week,
Yeah.
and then have 6 months worth of podcasts done, which I couldn't do the other way around.
Right,
So
yeah,
right.
it for those who don't do this kind of thing and haven't bought Podcasting for Dummies from T. Morris, award-winning author and podcaster.
This is why I want you to say that every time.
Yes.
Yes.
This is why I don't do my own introduction.
He does.
Let these guys do it
At this
for me.
point, at this point, it's you just can't. It's like saying Nintendo Switch. Oh yeah. So you're supposed to snap your fingers every time.
Comedy effing gold.
There you go.
It worked.
Right.
Don't break my shit, son.
Then Nintendo Switch, and
It's
then you punch the
all-
microphone. So, yeah, you have to snap your fingers every time you say it. So every time with T. Morrison, we always have
You're
to
welcome.
say award-winning podcaster and author.
Yeah.
And then when
But-
he says you're welcome, that cues this.
You're welcome. Shut up.
Right.
you go.
Not Moana. You know Moana?
I don't have Moana. I
Oh,
got-
it's in my house.
You say that,
Yeah. So it looks like it's twice as much work, but it's not. It's just getting, and we have 2 years of backstory. Like I'm literally cutting out jokes about the 2016 election.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's not even that far.
That's how far back
Yeah.
it is. So so.
That's
Not all
insane.
content you create in a podcast is evergreen.
I was.
But
I mean,
but what's fun now is just like T has all these drop-ins. I now have drop-ins of us, like
Yeah.
talking to each other. Like,
Yeah.
like you'll hear us say correct 1,000 times in an
Yeah.
hour
Yeah.
because that's our dungeon master's response.
Correct.
Right? Or it's either correct or you can try that.
Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that.
whenever DM says you can try that, I'm just like, oh god.
Like as soon as I hear that, I'm like, I know the DC is going to be super high. So
Yeah.
roll in
Right.
at 20. That's all I need right now.
Right? There's a moment where he goes, I don't think that's the right spell.
Oh.
I mean, we always hold our breath. We always hold our breath whenever we say, okay, so we open the door and there's a pause, and then, all right, everyone, roll for initiative. Like, we're like, oh, and you just hear this collective. I mean, it has become so ingrained in us that Pip and I were in Germany back in November. We were in Germany. We were at this beautiful literally Middle Ages brewery, and there was this long stone corridor, and there was a lone door at the end. I took a picture of it, sent it to everybody in the party, and I said, you're in a lone corridor at a brewery, and there's one door at the end. Roll for initiative. And these guys all were like, "Oh my God, you're right. I can hear that in my head. I can roll that."
That's amazing.
So
I was to say, like, I should probably like back up because like we've been talking for a while, and it's like people may not know who the heck we like how like
well,
why
first
what am I
off,
doing?
First off, this is normally my Twitch stream.
Right. Yes.
I'm you know when you see me, I'm the Tea Monster. I'm gaming every morning at 5 a.m. And most every morning. Every morning because of the furlough.
Yeah.
But that being said, Steve has been my guest this weekend, and he said he wanted to record a podcast. And I said, well, let's stream it. And I'm going to go on ahead and give my platform over to Steve. That is because normally we do happy hour from the tower from here. But now we're doing an episode of the blind.com. We're doing a blind gamer right now, and so that segues over to Steve, basically being the host.
Yes. So
in my studio.
So backing up completely, like I am currently in Washington D.C. I came down for MagFest, which stands for Music and Gaming Festival.
Magfest.org.
Magfest.org. Yeah, because .com is a completely different
Yes,
thing.
it is. So is WhiteHouse.com.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh my cotton socks! Did you not hear what I just said?
.org. We heard you, Kate. .org.
Yeah. So I've been going to MagFest for a couple years with a few of my friends, and I actually hadn't been for quite a while. And then I've been friends with T. We realized that like for going on now over 10 years. At this point.
Yep.
And we first met online because we were doing podcasting. And if you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/snowball, there's actually my very first novel that I wrote that basically turned into a podcast novel. It's called Black Shadow. I give it a 3 out of 5 if I had to. It's pretty bad. But
Stop.
We never read the comments section. Oh, no, just kidding. We don't read the ratings on Amazon.
Yeah, but so T and I have been like friends for a while. We met up for the first time in person at Dragon Con, and then I've been following T for a while. I had kind of been keeping up, obviously, with this Shared Desk podcast, and then when I started noticing he was getting really into Destiny. And then I heard about, obviously, the Happy Hour from the Tower podcast, and that's where you guys come in. We just met, like, 5 minutes before we sat down. Yeah. And then how my connection with T with gaming is, if you haven't been following on my socials or on my Twitch, that I'm at twitch.tv/blindgamersteve, we've been doing this sort of, like, this little mini stream on hijacking on T's channel on Titan Tuesdays, where we do a series called Blind Leads the Blind.
Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. I'm just an ordinary guy. Hey.
Let me say, first of all, Titan Tuesday, only day that matters. Just so you know. Just so you know.
And so
Gangsta.
Yes, we just watched that last night.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I just snorted. Wow, that's weird. So we started, because I've been wanting to get into Destiny, but it was really hard for me to, because it was just too complex and hard to play solo for me as a game, because I love Bungie, I loved Halo, but it was really hard as a blind person to be able to actually play this game, because I did try the demo when it first came out, or when Destiny 2 first came out. And I was like, okay, I get it, but it's really not my thing when I'm playing solo. And then when I saw that T was streaming on Twitch, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, so I just got Destiny 2. Would you be willing to stream with me and help me out playing Destiny 2 through the main campaign? And then you said,
I said, you want me. You've heard the podcast, and you want me to be your guy. Dude, that's the blind leading the blind. And then I get this eager, that's what we'll call it. Then suddenly I get a graphic, and later in the day, I get hey T, put this on your stream. And it was a full-on graphic that actually wound up in the book of Blind Leads the Blind, Tuesdays. And I'm like, what the hell? And then
20 years in Photoshop,
yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
And then I get a ping from the teenager, and Brandon goes, I got to get on this. And
No, you were in the middle of a stream.
You were
I was just like,
our first one, and you
Yeah.
were like, I gotta go.
I was like, you got room for one more?
Yeah. And then Brandon became involved. So then it was me.
Now it's Teen Titan Tuesdays.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
it.
This is the charm, Steve. This is the charm of Nick. When Pip is playing God of War, she's doing a lot of rowing.
Yeah.
Then it was like, yeah, this is God of War. And then she gets lost while rowing. God of, are we there yet? But then I learned from the feet of the master, because at one point Pip is trying to kill a dragon. And I went, oh, now the game is now called God of, oh shit.
See?
Well, to be honest, actually, and like you don't even know this. I really wanted to be able to play Destiny 2 with Brandon, but a 35-year-old reaching out to a 14-year-old over social media, probably not the best course of action to take.
Yeah.
Knowing that his dad is also on the podcast too.
Right, knowing that his dad works in InfoSec for a living is probably...
I'm going to be doxxed. I'm totally going to be doxxed within like 5
There's,
seconds.
But Brandon got recruited. So
Look,
then
you got what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then,
I knew that T was the workaround.
Yeah.
It was
The
best
entourage.
It was the best of both worlds. I would tell Steve, well, in Destiny, it's X, Y, and Z, and then this young, but Basano voice comes in to go, actually, it's ABC. It's like, oh yeah, that's what Brandon said.
Yeah.
And then we just move on from there.
Yeah.
But the thing that was really cool, and I think Steve experienced this with Brandon coming on board and with me being around and all this stuff.
I didn't just come on board. I paraglided onto the ship.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
You would have done that if you were a warlock. You triple jumped on the ship. Well,
Yeah.
let's be honest, you triple jumped on the ship.
Yeah.
But the thing was that he experienced the social aspect of Destiny, and probably the strongest thing about the game is its social aspect.
Well, and honestly, and that's what made if you haven't listened to my Game of the Year podcast episode that I put out last week, I actually put Destiny as my number 4 Game of the Year, and or Destiny 2 was my number 4 Game of the Year because I never experienced a game like that where multiplayer was a thing for me. The last time that actually happened was when I played The Matrix Online. Back in almost 10 years ago at this point, and yeah, that's old school for me. And I actually, the long story short, how I really got into the community was there was a radio station that was online specifically in the game. This is back when they were in the beta of that game.
Yep.
And they it was run by players. It had no association with the developers whatsoever. It was run by players, community, and it was a radio station called Radio Free Zion. And they had open auditions for a DJ. I never did anything like that in my entire life before, and I was like, I really love this game. I love The Matrix. I'm gonna jump in on this. And I auditioned, and I got accepted. And the first shift that I had on air, on stream, I was streaming for 3,000 people, and this is back in 2005. So 3,000 people listening in on that.
That's
point.
Huge.
That's like getting
There weren't even that many people in the world.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
there was like internet before you were born.
Yeah.
So that tradition continued because Megan, who is in our D&D podcast, she was a DJ on the Cape Radio, which was in City of Heroes.
So then we probably might have crossed because she get absorbed into MMO radio.
I will talk to you offline because I don't know how much she wants to share, but I will.
Okay. No, but I was gonna say I do remember when my connection to City of Heroes was that when I came in when Radio Free Zion got absorbed into MMO radio, and it became Awakened Radio instead, and that was sort of my connection to it. So multiplayer games I hadn't played since then. Because it was hard for me to be able to really find a game that I can actually be able to play that I can do well in. Because I'm blind, I'm usually at the bottom of the pack when it comes to any multiplayer, whether it's Call of Duty
so run with me.
Whatever.
You'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm the boat anchor. I know that I'm dragging everybody down.
And that's the thing. It's because I felt bad about dragging people down because I just wasn't that great in the game.
I just set expectations. Like they know, hey.
That's why I
Titan is not fast.
Now, I personally think Nick is being way hard.
Not fast. I just punch things.
Exactly.
If we get near the end, and I'm gonna go try to punch whoever the boss is, and it's not supposed to happen.
In the words,
you've done it successfully.
Decorated San Francisco police officer Harry Callahan. A man has to know his limitations.
That's correct.
And you do. But going even further.
Also, from Dirty Harry, nobody puts ketchup on hot dog.
That's true. But the other great thing though about Steve's experience with D2. So you know that segment where you're trying to get to the city and it's before you go to the jumping challenge.
You know the one.
Yeah, it's the one where the shields drop and you're playing with other players at random.
Yeah.
During our stream, we're running along, and I said, "Okay, just so you know, Steve, you'll see other players like the two guys in front of us. We're playing alongside with them. They're going to stay with us until a certain jump challenge, so don't worry about it." He's like, "Okay, cool." And we're going through this challenge. We go through like 2 waves. We have a third wave left with the shield, and then Steve's like, "T, I don't know where you are." I'm like, "Okay, hang on a minute. I'll come back to get you." So I double back to go get him. I get Steve and say, "Okay, follow me." So we go through. those two guys waited for us.
Oh, that's cool.
They waited for us, and
Yeah.
we come up. We go. I was like, dude, they're still here, and it was the minute we joined them, boom, they're back into it, and I'm like, this is Destiny. This is Destiny in a nutshell.
And I was sad that I missed out on that from the very beginning. Because I really wanted to play D1 when it first came out, because I was like, oh great, another Bungie game, another like sci-fi universe. I'm in. I love the Halo franchise. I know that D1 had its problems, but it was a game that I was like, once it was explained to me, oh yeah, it's also a multiplayer game. I'm like, all right, I'm out. I can't do it. And I've avoided those kind of games for a long time, and it wasn't until this year that I felt like, multiplayer games, if I can be able to play with friends, that makes it just so much better for me, because at least then my friends can know what my limitations are, and they're okay with that, and they're able to help me out whenever in a situation where I'm stuck. And that's why Destiny 2 became my number 4 game of the year of 2018. And and I thank you, T, for that, and I thank you guys in proxy as well.
You are always welcome to run with us.
We've been Steve adjacent apparently for like 12 years. I have, so like it's like a Scooby Doo thing. I walk in one door and you walk out the other, and like it's just never seen each other.
Never in the same room,
right? Exactly.
it's like the poker room.
I don't know that thinking back, like for as many MMOs as I've played, because we did Asher & Call since the alpha. And we did the Star Wars ones, which were it's fun to play.
I did play the first one. Why am I blanking on the name of it? Because
because it's been gone forever.
Star Wars Galaxies.
Star Wars Galaxies. Yeah. I got to play a Zedrak combat medic, which was the skill tree was really cool. It's just it was just
Now I told you guys the story of how I got into Destiny, which is I mean
your dad.
My dad. God love you, Dad. Thank you. Basically I was making the switch from Xbox to PS4. And I made the decision.
He said switch.
Oh, I think I was
You're
supposed to punch the mic.
I thought it was supposed to say Nintendo Switch.
Channel your inner Titan.
So,
no doubt.
So my dad he said, what do you want for Christmas? And I said I want a PS4. And the main reason I made the decision for the PS4 is probably for the worst game I've ever played.
Better than
on
Xbox.
PS4. Yes, one's better than the Xbox, but I made that decision.
The order
1886.
What a piece of garbage! No offense to that studio, but that was not ready for prime time.
No, it was not.
Should have been buried in 1886.
In fact, I made a reference to that in bad video game mechanics. I said that one of the traps that, just to go on this tangent a little bit, one of the traps that you fall into in writing for a video game is going off on too many tangents. Because you're trying to fill the time. It's like, because they started off with Order 1886 with Bedlamites. It's like, oh, okay, so you got this secret society of people in Bedlam, and they've actually become their own thing. Okay, that's cool. No, we're going to throw in werewolves.
Right.
All right, we'll do werewolves. Now we're going to throw in Jack the Ripper. Okay, I think you need to hold down.
When do they get
vampires? Whoa, dude!
When do they get to
the Red Bull?
When do they get to midichlorians?
I was waiting for that. Actually, they had something like that. They apparently had some serum that when you got really, really weak, you punched yourself with the serum, and it's supposed to rejuvenate you. And again, more vampire lore. And I'm just like, guys, stop throwing crap at the wall. You had a good idea, just follow that. But apparently they were trying to throw everything. And then we're going to steampunk it. We're going to steampunk it. It's like,
Fix getting from one end of the room, sneaking past the guards, to the other end of the room with consistent game mechanics. I was watching him, and if I had a controller, I would have thrown it myself.
Nick was rage quitting, and he wasn't even playing.
It was that bad. I was.
But I still. So I went on ahead and I said I want a PS4. So that year, Dad said, Merry Christmas, and of course I opened up my PS4, and Dad being my dad, he was like, and you're gonna like this, son. It's a limited edition. It's comes with a game called Destiny. And I look at him, I go, okay. And meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I'm going, what's Destiny?
Right. It's the one that had the Led Zeppelin.
Only you knew.
Yeah, the Led Zeppelin live action commercials.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Brandon. I didn't find out for like 48 hours because that was the Christmas.
They got
hacked.
DDoS, yeah.
They got DDoS
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And the funny thing was, I started playing the game, and I'm like, my God, this is gorgeous. Then, boom. And then it said, you're offline.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And
Badger.
Whatever
the error code was.
Raccoon.
Man.
We got it. So our story is really funny, too, because we...
it's the same way we got Borderlands 2 VR.
It is exactly... Yes, history repeats itself.
Is it good?
So hold on, let's get to the story.
Yeah.
We're going up in a lot of different rabbit holes here. But let's
you want
to
tell how we got to Destiny? Since you haven't talked that much yet today.
Sure.
Okay.
So commercial came on TV. It was playing the music and all the live action Destiny stuff. And then one of the warlocks throws a Nova bomb, and my mom goes, "Ooh, I want that. I want to do that."
That was it. Yeah.
That was it.
It was the Nova bomb sold it. So we got Destiny for the PS4, and Mom tried to play it and gave up after 10 minutes.
Yeah, she created a character. She picked a hunter, thankfully. Stood up, got through the first cutscene, made it into the wall, and was like, "No, I can't do this."
Wow.
And I picked up, and I was like, "I love this already."
Yeah. So then he started playing it, and then because you have 3 characters, thank God, because if it was only one character, I never would have played the game.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I don't like that. So I made a Titan because you needed to, we were like, you got to make one of each because there's 3 different kinds, right?
Yeah.
So
and then we went back. It was like Age of Triumph where we started making our warlock.
Right? Yeah, because you needed to finish it
like,
out. So then I got my own account after we combined to get him everything he needed for Age of Triumph because I don't do the PvP stuff.
And it was my gamer tag.
It's his gamer tag. But I will lore hunt. I will go for Dead Ghost for hours and hours and hours and hours.
If we ever get My Name is Bife on the show, I think he is going to fangirl harder than anybody because that guy is all about lore.
Yeah.
He is.
And so is Nick. And
make sure that he comes here to the house so I can watch him when he
there
sleeps.
you go. Yeah.
But so then I made an account, and then Mom wanted to be in it too, and we're like, "But you played this game and you hated it," and she's like, "No, I want to give it another try." So here's the skies part and the angels sing, just like when Kermit shows up in the Muppet movie. Right? She inverts the controls, and now she plays all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all it took.
That's all it took. She
wow.
she will sit and just snipe people.
Hey, Steve,
for hours.
It's kind of like with my audio setup, huh? I did one thing, and boom, hey,
Right.
Hey,
all these possibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the bad thing is that this little door behind him that he says he keeps cables in is actually going to be a secret shrine to you. By the next time you come down, it's going to be your picture and your DNA and your.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Next time.
Next time.
No, I'm not going to make my flight.
Put the lotion in the basket.
Put lotion in the basket. Wait. Get rid of this thing. There's lotion right there. All right.
Don't worry. There's more.
Wow, this podcast suddenly took a dark turn, Steve. I'm sorry. And
At
guess
least-
what?
at
This
least-
is his podcast.
I know. At least you're not sleeping here another night. At least you know you can hopefully get it.
I'm like, okay.
I like to watch you sleep.
I'm gonna sleep in my own
I
bed.
like
Right.
to watch you sleep.
But if you get stopped at the border,
Actually, if anybody's stalking Steven house, it's the cat. Apparently,
yeah.
Sebastian.
'Cause you're
was
allergic.
hanging out.
I am allergic
He's
too,
allergic.
yeah.
And Sebastian's like Sebastian, all 70 pounds of him lumbers over and goes, I know you are allergic, so I have brought you this little pouch of kitty drugs. I'm dropping it here, and I'm gonna sit here and wait until you pick it up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Bast, you idiots. I mean, he just
And I think I actually accidentally kicked him when I in the middle of the night because it was I was just going to the washroom. I'm like, I kicked it out. I felt something fluffy, and then it just scurried away. I'm like, oh.
you better hope that was bad.
No. But worse still, Bast had a falling out with Steve because Steve's like, man, you need to clean up around here. There's a lot of cat hair and stuff. And Bast was asleep here, and he just does this. Hey, you're whiter than me. I thought we were bros. Anyway. So that's all the stories.
My
about,
ghost is sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benedict is chill as usual. I think that should be his nickname though, is Ghost. Because he is your ghost.
That is my ghost.
Yeah,
He's over my shoulder. I
yeah.
know the camera's probably not right, but
funnier still. So we were streaming together.
Oh, yeah.
And Benedict was watching Steve like you're not Nick. Who are you? Why are you sitting in his chair? You know what? If I was brave, I would take your jugular.
Where's your Titan head, buddy?
Yeah. But that was the funny thing when Steve first popped on with Blind Leading the Blind. I said, "So what character did you make yourself?" Steve was like, "Well, I made myself a warlock," and I was like, "Oh shit." Because I knew my struggles.
Don't give me that look, Brandon.
No.
Don't give me that look.
No, Brandon should be giving me a look because I knew the struggles of a warlock, and I said, okay, this is a difficult jump, and you made it.
Yeah, but because we on Happy Hour we talked about that.
Yeah,
it was for the glide. It was for the.
It was the jump.
Second jump challenge, and it's like, all right, now Steve, now just be. Oh, you made it.
Yeah.
And then I hear Brandon go, wow. He's better at this than you, T. And I was just like, oh, man.
Knew that was coming.
Long long journey through Destiny 2. I knew it.
I'm not sorry.
No,
not at all.
But see, now Destiny's prepared you for Assassin's Creed Origins because you spend half the game just paragliding down from the top of the pyramid.
Sliding down.
Fun.
You want to
I can look at all of Egypt.
Yes.
You want to paraglide play Revelations.
It's been 45 minutes and I'm still not at the bottom of the zip line. Right.
Well, okay, so
There's no God of War, but it's close.
and that's like actually like when we talked about.
now that are we there yet?
Gotcha.
It was actually we did run into a Kratos at MagFest, and he was a little bit short.
Aren't you a little short for God of War?
That's right.
Is that what you said?
For God of War.
So he was one, and then Danger Girl was the other one. She also did Kratos on Friday.
Oh.
And she did a real good job. It was
we
really
saw
cool.
Shulk. I'm happy.
Yeah.
One Shulk.
Did you guys see the
Maxie? No, we didn't. No.
Yeah.
The
They were brilliant, too.
Snorlax.
They had they also did the twins from BioShock, which is very cool.
Yep.
I reached out to them. I said, "You guys want to be on a podcast? Come find us." You know, and
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll
Okay.
see. And then that event we're talking about is MagFest.
Yes.
Did you want to go into that at all?
Yeah, so like I said at the beginning, I've been going to MagFest for a couple of years with my friends, and they introduced me to it because it was actually introduced to me for my event via my friend Justin and Mike, and they were like, "We're going to MagFest. We've been doing this for a couple of years. You gotta come." So I was like, "All right, cool." So we drove down to DC. Lo and behold, actually, the bar that we went to that night just to grab some dinner, I see a friend a friend from a college friend of mine walk in. I had met him occasionally, once or twice, and we kind of recognized each other, hey. And he had a few friends with him, and we hung out with him the entire weekend. And they are all from Toronto. We all came back together essentially, and we've been friends ever since. And I was like, okay, MagFest is now the place I love to be able to go to. And I had to stop going after a couple of years because of just through work circumstances. Just kind of keep going.
happens.
And then it's funny. The year I stopped going is the year that T started going.
That Nick introduced me to MagFest.
Yeah.
Ships in the night.
See, you're right.
Yeah.
That's you walk in there. I got to leave. That's how it goes.
we're just that. What's that?
Right now we're crossing the streams right now.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm in a pocket dimension over here. So.
That's how the world, the universe is staying safe.
It's over. Yeah. Don't cross the streams, Egon. The first year that we brought T to MagFest, the complete elation on his face at playing Zaxxon was right up there.
This year.
Was right up there with because I was watching the stream when you guys finished Gaul.
And you had that
yes. Because a few times during the stream, the previous episodes we were doing, I thought actually I was doing okay with some of the big bosses, and then I look back at from T's perspective. There was even one point I think what was the character's name that we were trying to steal the ship from?
Oh, Thermos.
So
Thanos.
I
Thumos.
throw a grenade.
Thumos, right?
I throw a grenade.
Not Thermos.
That's why I said Thermos. Thanos. Yeah, that guy.
Yep.
So
I'm doing this on purpose.
I know.
Just so you know.
You can throw in Talos because Captain Marvel's coming out.
Yeah, Talos. Yeah.
So I throw a grenade and it explodes, and at that point, that's when he dies. So I was like, "Oh, perfect! Yes, I got the killing blow." I look back at T's stream, my grenade went short, and it landed just in front of him. And as that landed, T got the killing blow, and I thought I was in it. And he never said anything.
No.
And it was like,
I'm not going to crush his spirit. I mean, I pick up. First off, I'm not going to crush his spirit because he's the blind guy and he's out shooting me. So
that's
F
true.
him. But I'm taking the high road. Okay.
Yeah.
Granted, we all saw what happened with the high road with the Democratic Party in the last election.
All right.
That's beside the point.
This is a Canadian podcast.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Politics out. But then when we did the Gull mission, the final boss Gull mission, and I first when I did it, I thought I actually did kill him, and I was super excited. That's when I had the major reaction, and then I looked back at it and I saw T's perspective, he wasn't even getting a shot off at that point. I'm like, yes,
nice.
I finally got one.
Nice.
You did get it. You did get it because my perspective was I was like, oh darn it, I lost him. Where is he? And then I suddenly hear this, yes! I turn around and Gaul is now crumpled into a heap, and I'm like, he did it.
He did it.
Mother effort did it. All right, not rock on.
There's the Warlock Super. That's what did it.
There's this huge satisfaction which comes from good writing. I mean, let's be honest. So Destiny 2, and especially once you get into Forsaken, my friend.
I can't wait.
So there's there's a speed bump along the way. But once you get to Forsaken, it's real good.
Speed bump of Osiris.
Yes, exactly. So
we'll breeze through it.
right. Yeah,
Warmind brought it back.
Warmind was very good. Short but good.
Yeah, short but good.
Osiris is that weird truck stop that we're on the interstate that you're just like, you gotta get through.
You tell him Large Marge sent you.
Yeah.
Large Marge of Osiris.
Never wave your hand under the stall of Osiris. We'll leave it at that. So, but going back to good writing, right? So the character of Emperor Callus, who, if you bought the special edition, there's a whole book that's like his writings and everything else. And the guy just believes like the only way to properly lead people is through avarice and overdoing it and just abundance of riches, and that's just the jerk that he is.
Yeah.
And so to kick off the raid, because I watched you do it the first time, you didn't finish the raid the first time, but to kick off the actual fight against Callus, you have to shoot the chalice out of his hand while he's on his throne.
Oh, no way.
And the first time that they went on the raid,
I've had that
they go,
honor. It's
hey,
really kind of
hey,
cool.
Brandon, you want to shoot that? And he goes, yes, I do.
That was pretty ballin'.
It was.
But you did finish it because Maxi, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Maxi Bay, who's in the
I think
current meta.
I think actually, now I'm thinking about it, like once we finally get to Forsaken, I would love to be able to like let's just the four of us, let's just go into it if you guys are up to it.
I'll trade in and trade out anytime. I mean, I'll go do my own thing. Well, if it's a 3-person thing, and if there's room for 4, then I'm no problem being the utility infielder.
Okay, cool.
There's a lot of fun stuff to do in Forsaken, and
it's gorgeous.
oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I can't wait until Tuesday
Which is
because it's week 3 of the curse. Close your ears.
oh, that's right.
And the queen is back after that cutscene.
After that cutscene. Yep.
So now we get
Yep.
to see a little bit of
This is
what her
something-
reaction
this
is.
something You gotta be working up to.
Well, no one
it's
said
like
she's
seasonal-
back.
seasonal content?
Huh?
Okay.
No one said she's back.
But it's
The
Queen Week.
opportunity is back.
That's true. I'm just saying. That's one of the things I'm looking forward
But
to.
that's one of the things that I know.
Hopefully
have
I'm
to
not
do.
on the road.
I've got to go get the offering so that I can.
I got one when
I have not seen the Queen yet.
we breezed through the blind well the other night. I got an offering.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's a
Nice.
Hawthorne has the thing when you get into the clan. There's clan XP, and one of the things is for completing activities with your clan members, you get XP, and then once you get to 5,000 XP, then she's got an engram for you.
Actually, that's something I
cool.
need to do. I need you while you're here.
Yeah.
I need you to sign back into Destiny, and I need you to apply for. Oh wait, no, you do that through Bungie.net.
Yep.
I need you to sign in on Bungie.net, and I need you to find current meta and apply for it. And then I will ping Danfinity and say, Dan, this is the guy I was talking about blind games.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you
Sure.
a Stacia's tag too, so you can. I'll go
Okay.
have her do it
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
So anyway,
So the clan XP. So, but one of the things was there are our favorite activities. I think collectively are the arena type of rooms where there are different waves of enemies, and you can kind of do a bronze, silver, gold tier of how bad the difficulty enemies are, right?
okay, yeah.
And so we did it with Archon's Forge. We
Yeah.
did it,
Yeah.
which
It's called the Blind
Archon's
Well.
Forge was
Okay.
it's
Man.
the blind well. You should go there.
Yeah,
So
right.
but if you finish tier 3s, then you get clan XP, and we're like, well, it's just me and Brandon, and there was one other blue dot on the radar, and we're like, I don't think that guy's. I think he's looking for ghosts or something because he's just randomly jumping around. Like, let's try tier 3, which is pretty damn difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, wham! There were like 7 other people, and we're like, whoosh! Well, we're through. Oh, someone dropped another one. Whoosh! We're through. And we got the clan XP like just in a second. But
Boom, boom, boom.
like, that was the fastest tier 3 I've ever seen. I don't know if they've put matchmaking in or what, but all of a sudden it was
There's matchmaking.
the
People
floodgates
look for it.
opened, and they were like, yes, blind well.
Yep.
So suck it, nerds.
And that's what is that? Did you do the Forge? Is that how the Forge is? That same type of scenario?
No. The Forge
That maxes at 3.
The Forge is entirely different. It's three Guardians. First, you have to go through all the steps to unlock the Forge. Then, once you unlock the Forge, then comes the challenge of igniting the Forge.
Right.
And when you ignite the Forge, you have 3 waves of opponents. And if you outlast all 3 waves, and you continue, and the trick is, there are ads coming at you from every angle.
Yep. May I suggest the feedback fence?
Exactly. If they only made it for a warlock, and then what happens is you've got to basically
Warlocks
pick up the charge.
don't punch; they break their nails.
Easy.
Yeah.
They basically grab the charge. You throw it at the forge, and it ignites the forge.
Okay.
You have to get 20 of these charges in, and every time you kill one of the baddies that's carrying these charges, it gives you a little more time. So there's a lot of things happening.
Do you drop all your motes if they kill you, like in Game?
No, it doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. All I can tell you is that when I was trying to run it, with Coach, I was really struggling, and it was because I was also trying to do it using something called the Well of Radiance. You haven't unlocked that yet, but you will. But
thank you in advance, by the way.
Then I went in with a guy named Owen and
Uncle Owen?
Marv. And Uncle Owen,
Uncle Owen.
who's younger than us. So anyway, so Owen was like at 6. I think he was at 640 at the time. I was at 615. Marv was at 605. So Marv was really underpowered. But he said I've got Well of Radiance and I've got all of it unlocked. So why don't I run Well of Radiance T? You run Stormcaller. And suddenly, within 2 waves, we had it done. And it was 2 attempts, and we had it done on the second attempt. And I really think a lot of it had to do with the fact was, I said, because I was getting swarmed by ads, and when you drop a Well of Radiance, it's great, but when you're solo with a Well of Radiance, it's not. It doesn't work.
No bueno.
But with Stormcaller, I was just like, oh, I got ads. Dropping the Stormcaller, wham, and then next thing I knew, all I had around me were charges, and I was like, oh, throw it. All right, let's go.
Let's
go, baby.
Marv's amazing, but you will need an E-tag if you get him on your podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's charming as F, but he is salty as F. We love Marv.
So I'm climbing the charts. I'm at 586 as of 2 nights ago.
I'm at 600.
And I'm
have to get to 600.
OP.
Mastery
I'm
of
at
the time. Mastery of the time. Really, 648.
648. Yeah. But I'm having so much fun with the Ghost. I got my Ghost.
Yeah.
I'm going. Put on my Crucible loadout. Boom, 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 boom. Steve watched that. And was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah. And he's got dots at home, so I'm like, dude, it's $10. You get the Ghost for $10.
I think I'm gonna have to pick that up for sure.
So we were at MagFest this weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
And
that again.
Yeah, that is what we started with. We were at MagFest and Music, Art, and Gaming. Nick got me into my first MagFest. I fell in love with it, and then the following year, I got to present.
Yep.
I did the big score.
Yep.
And then the following year after that, Nick and I froze our cajones off.
See,
when we were presenting late at night.
We did it
slightly off key.
We did it like the first panel you could possibly get in was like 3:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday, and we did that with Robert Aldrich.
Yeah,
right.
Rob Aldrich,
author of This Kaiju Life, I think is that his?
No, that's the podcast. Rock Kaiju.
Thank you.
Kaiju. And Rest for the Wicked.
And Rest for the Wicked. Yeah. So Robert, good dude. He's been at MagFest every year.
Yeah. Every year they give him a table. That's how good they are doing.
So it was 3 PM on Thursday. So as calm as you could possibly be.
Sure.
And then we did the good soundtracks to bad movies at midnight on Saturday night.
But it was packed.
And it was right.
packed.
And we were like, we'll get there a little early and go walk for dinner. And we should have, like, we were in like Prince Edward Island cold. It was like
yeah. We were since we didn't know whether or not they would have equipment for us. We were carrying around some audio equipment and stuff like that. But it was effing. Freezing.
It was yeah.
And so we were and I bring this up because we were talking about parking situations. And that particular year we had to park in like BFE, and then we were walking around with equipment, and like it was minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wind chill
coming off of the Potomac. We were effing miserable.
So last night, Brandon was on a panel last night
somehow
on Dungeons and Dragons in middle school, because it was about how to start a D&D club, because our generation, like, you could start one. Yeah, you'd get made fun of, but you could start one.
We get made fun of.
So
by each other.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But it was in the Riverview Ballroom.
Yep.
Do you know where that is?
I'm trying to remember. Isn't that where the bungalow and everything are, where people are doing photographs?
No. So you go outside where everybody smokes, outside of registration.
And where
you
the
walk
furries
past
are.
the pool.
Yeah.
And then it's the next building over where they've put all of the tabletop stuff.
Oh man.
So it impacted attendance because nobody knows where the hell it is, right? But everybody was like, okay, so you actually have to go outside to go there. I'm like, were you here last year? Like, going outside right now is like flip-flop weather, jackass. It was like last year was we'll be fine. Like we're in hoodies. Like, then it's my St. 14 project hoodie, by the way.
That's mine.
Awesome podcast. It's actually his, but shut up. He's wearing his Hangry Gamer gear. This will mean something to you later.
Okay.
Which you can
Happy hour at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That's at hangrygamergear.com.
Don't put a sponsorship in my own podcast. Unless Angry Gamer Gear wants to be able to sponsor the Black Gamer podcast.
I'll introduce you. I will introduce you.
Okay,
Introductions
cool.
will be made.
Yeah, that's an easy intro to make. Yeah, we have I have a late Christmas present coming from them too, so I'm waiting for that.
So
but,
do I.
Yeah,
So do I.
but last night was parking was Magfest hasn't outgrown the Gaylord as a venue, but it definitely has outgrown the National Harbor from a parking perspective.
Yes, for sure.
And now all they're doing is the top of that hill is they're just putting in a cajillion townhouses.
Yep.
And that was me biting my tongue.
Right,
and
I saw that.
and so that's I don't even know what you're gonna do. So our joke was that there's a giant MGM casino.
Yeah.
So we're either gonna carpool with Grandma and let her go play the slots for a couple hours,
Or
we're gonna park at the MGM and just Uber down to the Gaylord. Because
yeah, that works.
because parking's free at the MGM because
Yeah.
they want you to go spend money in the casino.
Exactly.
Right,
See,
but I
okay.
can't bring him in the casino because
And I tell you
Teen
something-
Titan is not old enough,
I'll tell you
or Teen
something
Wolf,
else, too,
or any other name we'll give you.
That kind of threw us for a loop. Both days that we went to that we went, I couldn't park at the EV spot.
Oh, so that was going to be my thing. That was going to be my
First
life
day?
hack. Hey,
Yeah.
get an electric
First
vehicle.
day, Tesla and a Leaf. Second day, Leaf and another as yet identified EV from Toyota.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Toyota.
Did you see the whole bank of Tesla chargers that they have
Where?
down facing the waterfront lot?
No.
Yeah, once you get onto the waterfront
I gotta
street.
get myself a damn Tesla.
So I told him, I said,
I gotta get myself. No,
we can do one of two things. We can either get the Park Mobile app or we could buy a Tesla. And he goes, I think one's going to be considerably cheaper than the other.
Little bit, little bit.
But here's the thing, complete tangent. You know that
Too
now
late.
the Tesla, they've got to deal with sheets. They are doing superchargers. The Haymarket one, the Haymarket sheets has a Tesla supercharging station, and apparently they're doing this at all sheet stations now. And they basically said yeah, we want, and it makes perfect sense. You pull in your Tesla, you charge up, and I got a half an hour. Hey, there's a sheet. Let me grab something to eat. Cha-ching. I mean, it's so there's that. That's happening. That's a thing.
So
We were talking about MagFest though.
Yeah,
weren't
no,
we?
I was saying so once you got the parking situated.
Yeah, so we had a couple of things we had to go to because Brandon had to go to his panel.
Right.
There was a panel before that on audio careers, which is really cool. I'll pull up the names of the folks who were on it. I know Mark Strait is one of them, but and Isabella Ness is the other one. That was it for like panels. Like you can go and it's Guidebook is the app. Guidebook you can
Guidebook app is
right.
great.
So
Yeah,
you can
it's
download
great.
all the schedules and everything. But for us, it's kind of unless there's somebody there that we really want to see. It's always the vendor stuff, the gaming, retro and indie gaming, and then are there panels and everything else, and then it's you can't swing a dead cat as they say, right, and not hit 20 great cosplayers.
Yeah.
There's some amazing cosplay I think every year at MagFest.
Oh, but I got to tell them the story about our first year that I just reminded you of.
Please do.
So,
Okay.
you want to tell part of it?
No.
No, you go for it. Well, wait, but before we get into that, I wanted to ask you. That was your first panel in MagFest. What did you think?
Was it?
Yeah.
At MagFest.
At
Yeah.
MagFest. At MagFest. But what did you think?
I don't know. It was a panel. I don't.
You're just
I've been on some before.
The
I mean,
highs
it
and
was-
lows aren't, they're not very high or low on the day after a
Yeah.
count and auditions and chorus and everything else.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
busiest teenager I know. All
Right.
right. So going back
I'm trying to get my crap together too.
So go ahead, lead us in. So what about cosplayers? What was it?
So the first, we were getting ready to go to a con for the first time, and I think it might even been the MagFest that we brought you to. So that'd be 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, about 4
I was 10.
Or it was around that time.
Yeah.
And I said, okay,
Yeah,
Brandon.
it was you and Serena.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
First MagFest.
But here's the deal. So we're going to a big convention.
Yeah.
Okay. There's people who dress up at these things.
Yes.
Some of them have spent all year working on this,
Yes. And I know, so I have some friends who are very much like that.
and others just wear this stuff every Saturday.
Okay.
So just know that's in play, right? And
okay.
and hashtag furries ruin everything on Twitter if you really want to do some research.
Yep.
So we're standing at one of the vendors, and I get this nudge, and when he was 10, he wasn't 6 foot tall, right? So I get this little nudge.
Nah, I was 5'11".
Not when you were 10.
No.
Right? As I tell everybody, when he turned 10, he turned 18.
And
Which
I
is the
thought I
problem.
was tall, like being 6'2", but it's like when I stay next to Brandon, I'm like,
I know, and it's
I'm currently 5'11". I mean,
and it's not. He wasn't even the tallest guy on the panel last night. So,
oh wow.
yeah.
So I get this nudge, right? And I go, what? And he goes, hey, Dad. I go, what? And he gives me one of the little head nods, right, for the audio. And standing right next to him, head to toe, crown, blonde wig, flowing pink and white dress, Duck Dynasty level beard, is this 6'5" Princess Peach.
Listen, don't ask me how this happened. I don't have time to explain what I don't have time to understand.
And Brandon goes, I'm just saying. And I'm like, okay, so he gets it. We're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So that was sort of like the revelation. And then the one I missed was the next year that we were there. And I didn't get video of it, but there was a group of 4 girls who showed up as the nurses from Silent Hill. All bloodied up with the big heads and everything. Wow, and one of them was playing Dance Dance Revolution, and I wish I had gotten video of it.
I remember seeing.
So I could have just gone.
I remember seeing that.
What's MagFest? Here, this is what MagFest is.
This is MagFest, everybody.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you my favorite MagFest story. I told this to T, but whenever I usually go, and I'm usually staying at the hotel. Not necessarily the Gaylord every time, but at least one of the ones
in the harbor.
Yeah. And so we get invited to a few parties, and because some of my friends are friends with a lot of the musicians and the artists that come through, we were there. We were in the suite of the band Power Glove.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so
those who don't know, they're a heavy metal video game themed band.
I've opened for them.
You've opened for them?
I did, and they dedicated this song to Brandon.
They're great guys.
Wait, what?
Yeah, at Jack's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they did one of like the main. I want to say it might have been Super Mario, but they did like one of the main Nintendo songs in minor instead of in major.
That's right. Yes.
Right, and so it was like, what happened to this? Yeah. So yeah, good dudes.
So we were in the suite, and like all the debauchery that you can think of that Brand's too young to
MagFest.
Yet,
I got it.
And that was happening in this room, and then all of a sudden we're kind of sitting down. The party hasn't really started to wind down yet, but you can feel like it's starting to. Then all of a sudden, and as MagFest kind of works, so if you just kind of keep the latch open in the door that allow anybody to walk in, that's open door policy for parties at MagFest.
Right.
This guy bursts through the door and has a huge dude with long flowing hair, and he goes, "I am Thor, drink from my mead." And he has a giant jug of honey moonshine. And he proceeds to go to each person in the room, and you cannot leave the room unless you have a swig of his moonshine. And he hung out with us for like a good 5-10 minutes until everybody got a shot of this moonshine. It was really, really good moonshine, I'm saying. And then he proceeds to leave the room as bombastic as he walked in, and just went to the next room and continued on from there.
The Thor tour.
The Thor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I was like, now that's MagFest.
How many MagFests did you attend before you learned about the Colossus Roar?
It was the first one.
The first one? Okay.
And here's the thing. I actually know the voice actor who did the Colossus Roar in the X-Men game.
Really?
Kyle Hebert. He's an amazing dude. We actually did a podcast, an RPG show with him. He played, we did the Star Wars RPG. He played basically a version of Boba Fett, but he called it Bubba Fett. It was so good. So I remember I'm with my buddy of mine who has his phone number, and we were at MagFest, and we call him up, and it's like, dude, you got to come to MagFest. And he's like, why? He goes, just listen to this. And he starts the Colossus Roar, and it continues on, and he's like,
all the way down that main auditorium. Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I need to be there. I don't think he's been at all, but I'm like, I still love to this day, even though I didn't hear much of the Colossus Roar this year, I still love that they put up signs basically like no Colossus Roar beyond this point.
Beyond this point, exactly. Yeah.
So that I absolutely love.
Yeah, every time we went down the main hall, like you have the DJ right there at the bottom of the staircase, and then it was just from up and down the escalators, just all the way down to registration. There was just Colossus Roar one after another, and for folks who don't know, it's the sound in the old 4-player stand-up X-Men fighting game that when Colossus does its superpower, he makes a roar, and that is the thing that just people randomly shout out at MagFest, and it gets repeated. I would say ad nauseum, but we never get tired of it. It's just
exactly. Like I didn't hear it as much this year, so I think maybe it's starting to die down a little bit, but. I think it's more. Of,
You left early on Saturday. I'm just saying. By Saturday night, it was
still going. Okay,
pretty prevalent.
That's probably what it would have happened more of. But
yeah, there's certain moments where you're just like even like I was like steam coming out of the ears trying to find a parking spot just to get there. Yeah. But it's important for Brandon to get to his panel and see his people.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we got in, like you look around for a second, like, oh, where's Batman? Right, like that, and that was like the most normal dude. Like he could have been the valet for all you knew at that point. Exactly. But you just keep going into the room, and you're like, oh, there's all these anime people, and who's that guy from that game? And then at one point it just kind of hits you like, oh, man, I'm at MagFest. Like, okay, it's right. The hour of anger over getting a parking spot is fine, but you just get into that sort of vibe of. Yep, we're good.
Yeah,
so
I think it's as soon as you walk into that main lobby with the large staircase, it's like so basically where the DJ usually is. Like that's it's like, that's MagFest, 100%.
Yeah. But there was even before we got down that far, there was there are a lot of questionable life choices, I would say, that happen at MagFest. And one of them is if you're a furry fox, do you leave your head on when you're trying to walk down the stairs? Or do you take it off so you can see your feet? Right? But those are things that those are decision trees at MagFest. Let's just put it that way, right?
For sure. Especially when like the escalator is not working.
The escalator was not working, yes.
Yeah, we had
probably by design.
We passed by someone while we were walking down the stairs, and someone was walking up the escalator, and they go, the escalators can't break, they can only temporarily become stairs.
That's exactly right. Mitch Hedberg.
I forgot to mention it to you.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. I
don't know if you saw, like, I think T and I posted on Twitter, like, I think the cosplay we saw was basically a guy dressed up as Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and he's kneeling.
Oh, with the Uncle Ben's?
With the Uncle Ben's. Basically, Uncle Ben's rice box is basically laid out in a form of a person.
But the follow up to that was that another Spider-Man came up and he hugged it out.
They hugged it out.
It's like, I got you, bro.
I got you, fam.
Was there a favorite? I'll let you think about it while T's going to come back to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a minor crisis happen, and I had to take care of it. As far as I know, it's
on Infinite Earths.
Huh?
Is it a minor crisis on Infinite Earths?
It's a minor crisis on Infinite day jobs. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for being on the podcast. We'll see you later.
Go. See you later. I think I got it under control. I just got to figure out what weird technology. We got all this fixed,
right?
And then we got something hicking up on Twitter,
right?
God damn it, Twitter! I just so I got to figure out why Twitter and Twitch decided.
It's 2.5 weeks in, and T just found out he's essential personnel and was supposed to be there the whole time.
Yeah, it's more like Twitter said, you know what? T's been posting all this stuff on his Instagram about what he's doing on Twitch on his personal Twitter account. Why don't we switch accounts on him, see what happens?
No, you did not. I did. No, you did not.
Last two.
Wow.
So shout out twitch.tv SK Froy. Thank you for helping me out.
Catching you out there.
I got to figure out what happened, because I mean, of course I can go to I'm going to go to my boss and say, "Yeah, don't know how that happened." Because that shouldn't have happened, and why it's happening, I have no idea. Because you have to go into Twitter
and
to make that happen.
Unless there's an update and they change the default settings.
Oh, that could do it.
Wow.
That could do
right.
it.
See, I have that fear massively because I work for 2 radio stations.
Oh yeah.
And I have both logged into on my phone, and there are many times I caught myself once. I was just about to tweet something, and then I noticed. Oh,
I'm on the wrong account.
And usually I'm on top of that. Usually I'm on top of that.
I've done it once, and it was with the Happy Hour account, and I was live tweeting with the cast of Killjoys, which I do whenever they're on anyways. It's a brilliant show. But I was on the wrong account, and I'm like, oh, Happy Hour doesn't have crap to do with Killjoy, so let me switch back. That's the only time I've done it. But there's always that fun little danger of.
Look, at least it wasn't like I dropped any F-bombs or anything like that, or
But now there's going to be a whole government conspiracy about who killed Uncle Ben.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh! Oh wow! I'm so sorry.
not stuff happens, and also quite honestly, it would be bad if the furlough wasn't happening. But the fact remains that the day job Twitter's been awfully quiet. And then for something to have a show up with, hey, T's live on Twitch, like what?
What?
Who's T?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, and it was only it was the audio check, and it was this one.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, look,
pretty safe. Pretty
safe.
Yeah,
pretty safe.
Considering some of the things you've tweeted, pretty safe.
Yeah. Considering some things I've tweeted, pretty damn safe.
So rein it back. Let's get back to Steve. So let's Steve.
Well, I'll say so. No, I should say like for for your MagFest with the 3-4 hours that you were able to enjoy this year. How was it?
Go ahead, Brandon.
It was fun.
See, this is all I get. This is the highs are not very high today. The lows are not very low.
He really can come in with the one-sentence stories, and it's just the works.
Right. He's been possessed by Stephen Wright just for this podcast.
One thing
I got a Schultz keychain. I'm fine.
That was the fun thing. Like there, at one point we were walking around and he goes, "Man, there's a lot of Nintendo representation, more than usual." And, well, Super Smash Bros. Just came out.
Yes.
So, but there's not. But it's just the main people. Like there weren't there. If you get down to like Shulk's from Xenoblade Chronicles, right? No, like nobody. It didn't even come out in the U.S. the same time it came out in Japan, and so
That's happened with a lot of Nintendo titles.
That's right.
I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles, 2 came out on Switch?
Yeah.
Or 4, what was it, 2 or
No,
4?
Yeah, no,
It was
2,
2.
because somebody in this room specifically bought a Nintendo Switch
for Xenoblade
Chronicles.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
in May, and the game didn't come out until November.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He wanted to make sure.
And I still haven't finished it. But when you
Played
were
in
talking about,
months.
we were off air. You were talking about platinuming Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
On the
Yes.
PlayStation. So I wanted to bring the story up to you, and I think I don't know if I told it on our podcast before, but they took Xenoblade Chronicles, which originally came out for the Wii, and then they had it released for the 3DS.
Oh, right, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wound up getting 2 copies of it because it was on a birthday list or something. So took the spare copy, went down to this great store in Virginia Beach area called Video Game Haven, and brought it into the guy, and I'm like, can I exchange it for something? And he goes, oh, yeah, have you played this game a lot? And I go, I probably put 100 and some hours in. I know my son probably did the same because we'll just run around just for the soundtrack. The game's just that great.
Yeah.
And he goes, so my dad retired last year, and he has put 900 hours into this game just trying to do every side quest.
Wow.
And the side quests can be things like it has to be storming and a full moon at this particular part of the map for this creature to show up and for you to defeat it.
Wow.
Like it's not like, okay, solve the Rubik's Cube, whatever Star Wars, Spider-Man thing that, or, get all the backpacks or whatever. You know what I mean?
Fair, yeah.
But it's completely random stuff. And I'm like, why would gamers.
How would you even know to do that?
Oh
Really?
yeah.
That's
Somebody,
discovered
you've got to have read it somewhere. But yeah. So Shulk is in.
He's in Smash.
He's in Super Smash. He's in the last 2.
Right.
There's an amiibo. There's a
There is.
Shulk amiibo. So
My friend and I have agreed that we need Fiora and Ryan in the game as reps.
Hey,
They're spirits.
They could come into the DLC. You
They're
never
spirits,
know.
but they need to be characters.
Oh, if they're spirits, I don't think they'll probably introduce as characters. I don't think. Unless they do like a variation of it. But anyway,
This is where I zone out everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't play Smash. I just know a lot about it.
yeah, it's
Serena would be on this like white on rice. She'd be all over this because she's played Super Smash. She's got her Switch. She's doing My Hero Academia.
Well, we bought Brawl because we thought it was a Mario game.
Oh.
Do you remember
no.
that?
It came with the Wii.
No, it didn't. We saw it in the store and we were like, "Oh, this has Mario on it. I think it's a Mario game," because we were looking for like the next one, like Super
Because
Mario.
we had spent a great number of hours playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games,
Yes.
curling.
Yes,
Curling.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
curling.
That's awesome.
We're the only American family you'll ever meet that watches curling with a passion.
Yep.
Hey, it's just as a Canadian, yes.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
So, yeah, you thought we lost tea with the fighting games, dude. We yeah, the curling, and he's like, maybe I'll read my own book.
He found podcasting.
he's looking through the podcasting down. He's just like, where did I go wrong?
So the vendors were, as always, top notch. There's always 10 trillion things that you can buy at
God, the audio
MagFest.
section of this sucks. What?
The panels that we went to were really good. We hit that time of day where maybe the panelists maybe have drinking.
Yeah.
And then
It was not me.
no, not your panel.
No.
And it was neat to see the whole tabletop. There was one tabletop game. Because I'm going to ask you guys about the video game that you were talking about. But there was a tabletop game that we looked at that we thought was very interesting, and we didn't get a chance to play it. But it is called.
It was something with mech in it.
Yeah, it looked like giant
Oh.
mechs in it. You know what I'm talking about?
I've heard
Heavy
of
armor?
this. Heavy armor, yes. I've
Yeah,
heard of
tactical
this.
mechanized combat, heavy armor.
Yeah. I think it was a game
from-
we considered doing on the RPG.
From
podcast.
Silver Clutch Games is the name of
Yeah.
the studio, and they also have
Is this an indie game or is it?
yeah, because they also
okay.
have Beneath Nexus is the other one
Got
that they
it.
were demoing there too. So that's a tabletop game that you'll hear us probably dink around with on our podcast. But there was a indie game that you guys played
Yes.
that I would love to hear about.
It's so T and I both days on Friday and the Saturday at MagFest. We discovered it on Friday and we had to go. We loved it so much we went back to it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was a game called Soul.
SOLE.
Yes. By Gossamer Games, and they. It's their first game that they've ever produced. They've never worked on a game before. It's the first game in development, and we watched it, and it caught our attention. Because of the booth itself, it had like this really nice leather couch with like a shag carpet and lighting. I was like,
and it had like paper lanterns for lighting. It just looked very zen.
I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good zen kind of chill thing.
I think I played an apocalyptic game at that exact place last year.
Well, we did find Read Only Memories.
Yeah.
Which is a great.
No, but there was the one third person shooter that we had.
That was Zombies Not Zombies that you were like that you blew.
I blew
Brandon,
through
of
it.
course, blew through it, and then the developer's like, "We're out of game." Like, which, like,
no more.
I'm like,
I remember that.
Have you met my child? Yes.
Now, that was the thing I noticed though about this year at MagFest versus like the first few years that we went to MagFest.
Was the one steampunky one still there with no
No.
business cards?
Exactly. Yeah, those guys. Yeah. No, they weren't there. But what I noticed was a couple of things. One, there were more indie games.
Yeah.
That I've seen there since in all the years I went to MagFest.
Was Super Hat Fight there?
No.
Damn it.
King of the Hat.
King of the Hat.
They're on Steam Greenlight.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Have
Cool.
you seen that game?
Yeah.
Dude, we played it like you have your characters and you're supposed to knock each other's hats off, and that your hat is your soul.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Or you can throw it at people and do damage to them. And so but the characters are like a cowboy and a pirate, and for some reason a washing machine with the soul of the washing machine is a laundry basket. We played it at Super Smash Con and we were laughing. I couldn't stop laughing with it.
That's awesome.
Well, the thing is that I noticed there were more indie game developers there than I'd ever seen at any previous MagFest.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the actual booths themselves, and like the steampunk guys who were there. It was basically their game on widescreen, and that was it. But there were some people that had tents set up. They had couches. They had a whole little zen corner kind of thing happening. They wanted this to be a comfortable, almost like this is what it'd be like to play in your home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which was I was like, wow, they're really stepping up their game. And then you got friends like the friends who did Mighty Fight Federation. Right?
Yeah, so I have two friends that actually are showing off games there at MagFest this year. One is called Mighty Fight Federation, run by two of my friends, Julian and Nori, and it's basically like it's like a fighting like Street Fighter cross with like kind of like backyard wrestling kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
it was ridiculous. It was
Oh,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Fun.
There's no market for that.
No, exactly. And so they actually had like this at MagFest. They actually had.
Are they
their
from
own-
Calgary?
no, they're from Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Enough, yeah. But like, basically, it's like you can have like characters like robots or like a really swole-looking demon is what I played, and like we were in this the gym from hell, and so it was basically this boxing ring with a bunch of like demons kind of like in the background, like on treadmills, like just kind of just chilling.
Oh my
out.
God.
Yeah.
and so he was playing the demon werewolf that had no soul, all swole.
On his t-shirt.
That was on his
Yeah.
t-shirt.
Love it.
And I was playing the Killbot 9000.
Yeah,
And
it's basically it's like you have like different like you have different special abilities and you have different fighting abilities. Like it's very much like if you played any fighting game, it's very easy to pick up and play.
So these guys from who were doing Mighty Fight Federation, they were having a tournament on Saturday, and they were giving it away this beautiful wrestler style belt.
You have to.
I mean,
Yeah.
it had
a custom made to
Yeah.
Mighty Fight Federation, and it was as if you were holding a.
So we
WWE
either
belt.
saw the guy who won that because there was a guy with a belt, or a guy who just walks around with one, which we've seen that too. But
Okay,
yeah.
But we
It
might
might
have
have
seen the guy who won it
So
later that night.
that's the thing. Everybody was up in their game, and then but we got to the booth for Soul, which just looked very zen. But then we happened to see like the guy was kind of playing around with it, and it was just this ball of light, and we were like, okay, what is this? We park ourselves at this game, and we both give it a try. And then for the rest of the day and for the morning, we didn't shut up about this game.
It is so amazing. Actually, you have to bring into the accessibility side of it because the blank game. Anyway.
Blank game.
So
YouTube.com/snowball.
Thank you. It's very easy to be able to pick up and play. There's no other controls other than just movement, and it's very much like Journey meets Myst. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So it's apparently it's going to be only like a 2.5, maybe 3 hour play session to be able to complete the whole thing. But essentially, you are a ball of light that you're trying to be able to eliminate the darkness in this world. and there's a whole sort of like visual storytelling element that's kind of going on. There's actually glyphs that you can be able to collect, that the more you collect, there's certain kind of like aspects of the game that are certain things you can be able to see different parts of the written language written on the walls and on the statues and on the obelisks, and that the more you collect, the more you can actually be able to understand and read what that language is.
And while all this is happening, there's this very super chill Zen Asian style fusion music playing in the background.
Yeah, and you love the Journey soundtrack. You probably will love the soundtrack too.
So and then and as you're so I was going through it. I was really digging it, and I said, "Do you want to try it, Serena?" She was like, "No, that's okay." I did it for a few more minutes. Then I hear this. Can I give it a shot? And then Serena just lost herself in this game.
Yeah,
and she was unlocking glyphs, and you were just you just continue to explore this completely open world, and you're solving puzzles without having to really work at solving. That it had that feeling of Myst in that you were dropped in this world and you just had to figure out why you were there. It didn't have that annoying thing of how you would solve something. You would try something in a puzzle in Myst, then go and check to see if it opened a door. Then you go back, try something else. That is gone. That's removed. But it's just it just felt it was such a relaxing game that we were streaming it. We were streaming it from my phone, and Freud pinged me and said, I want to play this game. There were several people that pinged me out going, what is this game? I really want to play it. And we fell in love with this guy. I mean, and the game, and it was and these. I was like, man, I hope they play this game. Then there was the other friends that the other big hit of the indie weekend was some more friends of Steve's, and they have this game called Mecha Puppers, and it's basically set in the future. And puppies are now given mechs, and they have to fight against this unknown villain. But they have this traitor within their midst, and they have one of the things you could have got from there. They had great swag.
Yeah,
they had the button of the traitor, and the traitor it looked like a corgi. But then you look a little closer at it, and you realize it's a cat wearing a corgi mask. a cheap tie-on corgi mask, and all the puppies fall for it.
Yeah, it's very much like if you play...
Very tongue-in-cheek, a lot of fun.
Yeah, how is the Cartoon Network not called them already?
I know. It's like it's XCOM meets corgis. Like that's exactly...
XCOM with corgis.
Yeah, XCOM with corgis.
XCOM with corgis.
And it's made by...
corgi puppies.
It's made by two of my friends, Cassie and JP, and they've been in the indie scene in Toronto for quite a while, and including Cassie worked on Guacamelee 2, if anyone's ever played that game from Drinkbox Studios. So that's the pedigree that they got going in, and they're still working on it, still in alpha. That's what they were showing off at MagFest, but it's going to be coming out hopefully this year. So it was really, really cool.
And all in all, I think that this was the year that I played more indie games than I did console games. Cabinet games.
Yeah.
I got a crack at Zaxxon. Joust was broken, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there were some really, really clever indie games that were out there, and we're just counting down to Soul. I loved Mecha Puppers. That was just that was great. It was, and I love their their pitch slogan was RPG strategy. High tech mechanized robots. Completely petable doggos, and it was just it was really well done.
There is a thing in the game that because it is a touchscreen, and it's like we didn't discover it when we were there, but like if you touch like any of the corgis, that actually will pet them. And it's very much...
It's ridiculous.
It's
Backyard wrestling and puppies. Way to represent Canada, buddy.
So, and I will say, like, I think I agree with you. Like, this is the first time I played more indie games than I did anything else. And mostly with MagFest, for me, it's always been the concerts. I love the concerts, and I love the musicians they've had, and I've been to a few of the panels and stuff, but this year was really all about the games.
Bring back Machina Supremacy, please.
One
please.
Thing one thing we did find out about, because even Steve, who's a long-time attendee, he was. I said, well, you know about this mecha tournament where people go into pods and they go in there and they do the mecha stuff, and he was like, no. Well, we're walking around and we saw them. And I was like, okay, this is it. And Steve was like, what is this all about? So we started asking more questions, and we found out some stuff that kind of made me go, maybe I don't want to do open play for this. Because, first off, whenever people were doing the rounds for this thing, they would literally take them aside and they had a training session on how to work the pod.
Yep.
That was complicated enough, but then you are in this pod apparently for 2-hour stints.
Oh.
Yeah, the tournaments were at least you had to be in there for 2 hours.
Now,
and
I
the
just
open
want-
play was about an hour.
And I just want to run that by you. The average person that attends MagFest, and they're in a small pod for 2-hour stints.
Just do the math.
I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm just gonna leave that there.
Hashtag please shower.
Yeah. Hashtag 321. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Brought to you by Febreze.
you. Yeah. I mean, but just
Even that, but even the attention span, the 2 hour in a game at Magfest.
Yeah.
If you're not in a tournament,
yeah.
like we have a hard time lasting an hour at Super Art Fight, which is completely ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and with no script, you know what I mean? So, but 2 hours at
And
That's a long time.
And then we started feeling like, well, maybe we're just getting old, because when we got back both nights, we just shut down. We collapsed.
Yeah.
Even particularly Saturday, we got back from the event, and I got home and I just sat there for a second. I said, I'm going to take a nap, and I just went upstairs. I was out for like an hour. I get up and I come downstairs. I'm like, where's Steve? Oh, I better know where he is. And sure enough, I hear Steve come downstairs. He's like, yeah, I need a little nappy poo too. And at first I thought maybe we're just getting a little old for this. And then I was like, no. The difference is that when you're at a con, when you're actually there, very much like Guardian Con, when you're at a convention and you want to take a break, you go back to the room, you crash for 20 minutes, you jump right back in. But when you're remote and traveling to and from, it's like when you're done for the day, you're done for the effing day. And MagFest still has that effect on me. Even the first time you took me, I was exhausted after that. But there's just so much sensory.
you've got to
input.
be on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of audio fatigue because it's
Yeah.
just it's
Oh, yeah.
always loud, and you don't even sometimes realize that until you're halfway through the drive home. And you're like,
Yeah.
It's like, why are my ears ringing?
exactly.
Why am I suddenly taking deep breaths? Oh, it's because I'm in a car and it's
Right.
quiet.
And the only way that we got through Guardian Con was that we had a room across the street, which was, again, Brandon's mom, Stacia, she wasn't at everything that we did at Guardian Con. There were long periods where we were like, we're going to go do the blank, and she's like, that's fine. Right, but I will be in the room, and it just comes down to a lot of it's the introvert versus extrovert, and how how long can you be on,
Yeah.
and also some of it's also what interests you, right? So she's just as happy to be sitting poolside reading a book as I am to be watching the first rounds of Gambit, right? Where we're like, holy, did that guy just win by a second? Like it was crazy. So there's a lot of that, and I knew it on the drive home last night. And we were only there for 3 hours, but it was like, you would have been out cold if you hadn't worn your contacts.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me too. Like because previous Max Fest for me I've always stayed at the hotel or at least one that's nearby. So it was never like I was like, why am I just so tired this year? And I thought it was because I thought I was just older now. But I'm like,
Nope.
no, it's
no breaks.
It's a whole completely different thing. And that's I was just thinking. I don't think I've ever been to a convention that I wasn't staying like really close by. And I was like, I never would take a nap when it comes to a convention. And I'm like, and yet for 2 days, that's like the only thing I wanted to do after a couple hours. Like, but I still say MagFest is absolutely like an incredible convention. Still it still feels very community driven, even though it's got like 20,000 people going to this thing.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And I still find it to be the event that I look forward to. I also think that part of the reason why we didn't get selected to do different events was mainly because we were. I was looking through the schedule and I noticed that there were similar stuff that we had pitched. Other people were pitching, so I think they just want to mix it up, keep it variety. I'm still gonna make sure that next year we're gonna make our applications, get them in early, kids. And I'm going to pitch them the Twitch angle because I'm sure that the Twitch for Dummies would be a big hit over there. I actually got a chance.
They didn't even take Adam.
They didn't take Adam?
Adam, the guy that we met last year, who is the host of Outrageous Acts of Science on the Science Channel,
right.
who wrote a book about the history of pinball.
Right.
And he didn't get a table.
Wow.
Which because he was at Balticon. I talked about Balticon for a while.
I That's weird.
And that was the other kind of total change for me is that I found enough places because the barcade movement is so in full effect here that I've played a ton of retro games and pinball, and so I've kind of fed that need without having to wait an entire year to go to MagFest, which is, I mean, people were sending pictures of Gorgar, and I'm like, I played it like 2 months ago in Charlotte. I'm good. So,
I think the one that I think took me by surprise. I forgot how big of a ripoff this one game was back in the day. Do you remember the video game Gorf?
Gauntlet?
Gorf. Gorf. Gorf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like there was one called like Alien Invaders. It was Space Invaders.
Yeah.
It was just Space Invaders.
Yeah, the Asylum Entertainment of the video game industry.
Yes! Yes! The Asylum Entertainment.
Makers of Atlantic Rim.
Atlantic Rim.
Yeah.
Journey.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't matter. And this is coming from a guy, I swear to God, I watched Attack of the Killer Donuts yesterday. So
coming soon to nickkelly.com.
It is. I wrote it up last night.
Nice.
So MagFest for a long time has been my I will not miss it con.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those?
There is actually. There's one in Hamilton that I want to bring T2, but I think you guys would actually enjoy as well. It's not as big as MagFest, obviously. It's only a couple thousand people, but it's a con that I absolutely adore. It's called Con Bravo, and it's every year in Hamilton at the end of July. And it's very much like MagFest, where it's a community-driven con. So there's a lot of community events. And they bring in same kind of sort of talent that they have with YouTubers and streamers and cosplayers.
May have to make that happen.
Yeah, and I've been a guest a few years. I've been going just as an attendee for a couple of years, and it is the one con that I absolutely like. I think I only missed 1 year, and that was last year because of a work thing. But I've been going for the previous 5 years. And it's right downtown Hamilton, Ontario, at the Hamilton Convention Center, and there is a hotel that's basically there's a bridge that cuts across to the Hamilton Convention Center.
Same as Guardian Con last year. Yep.
Yeah. So it's very easy to get to.
Now what you have to top is the drunk chick wrecking her Jeep and taking out a street light.
Oh man!
Which was
last night of Guardian Con.
The Saturday night, we got back, we were down at the bar meeting with some people, and then we get up to the room, and my wife is just sitting by the window. I'm like, what's going on? She goes, oh, this has been so good. This has been so good. Like I heard this noise. I look out the window. There's this girl. She's hit the median taken out an entire street light. And then we just started.
Those long
yeah. Then we just started counting the cop cars. And here's the field sobriety test. And here's somebody. And right across the street are all of these gamers walking by like, oh, look at this. So it was, perfectly entertained from whatever floor we were on. But it was.
Downtown Hamilton is there are some pretty interesting characters that hang around there for sure. I think that there's definitely some entertainment value from there. But I think my one of my stories that we there's, again, it's sort of like one of those kind of party cons that you just kind of do right after the day's events. And I'm trying to remember there was this one point where all of us in this one room got so drunk that we actually started throwing things outside the windows of the hotel, and
that always goes over well.
And we did this once before with a buddy of mine at a different convention, but we did this again, and we actually somehow someone had this toy baby doll, and we threw it out the window, and we just started screaming, "My baby!"
Oh my god!
And then
there's no way this is gonna end.
No,
badly.
and then we hear it a beat later. We hear a scream, and we're like, "Uh-oh, what happened?"
Yeah.
And a beat later, someone goes, "You bastards!" It was just, oh man, but anyway, I highly recommend if you guys are able to come to Hamilton. It's just outside of Toronto. It's a half hour, 40 minutes.
Con Bravo, you said, right?
Con Bravo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Con Bravo.
And that's late enough. That's if it's in the late July. The band doesn't have any gigs. I have to look. Well, we do. Yeah. We have a Peanuts gig, but. It's summer, so you can actually go.
It's always the last weekend of July.
Oh, so we'll be okay then.
Yeah.
I admit I'm getting more aggressive. I was doing a lot of networking with the different events that were either coming up or that were there at.
Well, you have a very relevant book to promote.
I do. Yes. So there was a place and there was a.
I lobbed one at E3 just to see if we can go.
Too many games.
Really? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Too many games.
Yep.
I approached them. There was JexCon, which I believe is in.
It's local.
That's local, and then there's another one called. it sounded like JexCon, but it's not. But it was on
GDEX.
GDEX.
Yeah.
GDEX in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh.
And so I petitioned them, and then I swung by AwesomeCon, met Becky,
Okay.
and had basically talked to her about AwesomeCon, showed her Twitch for Dummies, and she was like, oh this we would like to.
Yeah,
have
we're already
this.
in for BlurredCon. You're in for RavenCon.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I knew that. I just
And then
gotta-
we're doing the Divide and Conquer Memorial Day thing with Balticon and Escape
Balticon
Velocity.
and Escape Velocity.
Yeah.
And then there's but then I gotta look at
Super Smash Con.
I gotta look at BlurredCon. Find out if they want to have us come on.
Do it quick.
Yeah, I know.
I can do it. I can talk to Aisha.
Yeah,
No, Aisha's with Escape Velocity. James.
We'll figure it out.
No, James.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll.
Because he does GironiCon too. So.
Yeah. Oh, he does GironiCon.
Yeah, you're not going to sell any of those at GironiCon.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
And I don't know that they're gonna. I don't even know if they're gonna do Star Wars Days this year. That was a whole debacle. That fell apart at the last moment in time because the venue screwed over the Boy Scouts, which you don't hear every.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but that event was sort of.
It's a Star Wars toy fair, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's run by the Boy Scouts, and
okay.
the panel experience we had was just the setup was bad, left a sour taste in T's mouth, which is fine.
The only convention that has ever had a sour taste in my mouth is it's the biggest one in Toronto. It's Fan Expo, and
that's a huge con.
They get the hugest people.
Yeah,
basically that's where they pull in the Stan Lees, the William Shatner.
That's the Wizard Worlds down here too, right?
Which reminds me, you did hear who's going to be at AwesomeCon this year, right?
That's a
CGI Stan Lee.
Bernthal.
Oh, John Bernthal. Okay,
Yeah.
Good. We can by then absolutely share a drink over them canceling the Punisher. They haven't done it yet, but they will.
They got season
coming.
2. Season 2's coming.
That's fine.
Coming.
Listen, I'm a huge Daredevil fan. You don't want to get me started on Netflix right now. I'm a mad individual. But the Golden Globes are tonight, and the Daredevil is up for stunts.
I didn't know that.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Cool. That's awesome.
Cool.
We need to get to the Game Awards next year too.
We do.
Oh, the Game Awards. I would love to go to that.
I'm gonna work on it.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah. That's
All right.
a great time every year.
So just so you know, since I'm keeping an eye on the clock, you got an hour until we have to leave for.
We got to wrap it up.
So you're gonna have to wrap things up here, my friend.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you much, guys, for joining me on this kind of very not accessible. I can't even think right now. It's been a long weekend. But thank you guys for joining me.
Did you Bandersnatch with him?
We did not.
We did not get the chance to Bandersnatch. I did introduce him though to Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay, so
I love that movie.
It's a Taika Waititi joint. So there you go.
Meek's not dead.
Yeah.
So you got to stream when you Bandersnatch, please.
I think actually some of my friends have at my church. I think we've mentioned they're we're definitely gonna do that together. So
okay.
I think that'd be a cool one.
I want to see that.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining me on this episode of the Blind Gamer Podcast. For those who want to be able to follow along with you online, where would you like to go? We started left. Let's go right.
Yeah.
Hey, so again, at Nick_Kelly on Twitter. But you can find me nickkelly.com. You can find the podcast at thegeekwolfpackpodcast.com, or you can find all of them at thegeekwolfpacknetwork.com. And thank you for doing this with us. This has been a blast. I don't want to draw the topic tree that we covered because it has many tangents.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
even the people who play Detroit Become Human will get more confused.
This is his podcast, so I'm not doing the show notes for it. So, yeehaw!
I don't do show notes. This is just like a
wow. What's that like?
I just do enough for SEO and then I'm good.
There you go. Perfect. And then I will hand it off to my the Crown Prince, heir to the Kelly fortune.
What do you want me to say? Find me on Twitter.
How do we find you? How do we find you on Twitter?
How do I find you on Twitter, man?
At ThermalWolf 2Fs.
Just
tweet me. I don't know.
Just tweet him. He's sometimes on Twitter.
And sometimes on her.
And sometimes on Instagram.
Yeah. Sometimes.
What's your PlayStation gamer tag?
TH3RMALW0LFF.
That's right.
Yes.
Is that like your password or is
I know.
That's because ThermalWolf was taken.
All right.
Hey.
And I'm
Drowsap.
Dude.
Drowsap.
DOOD. Yeah, Drowsap. Password backwards.
Okay.
And then as for us, happy hour from the the earlier mentioned theshareddesk.com.
Yes.
tmorris.com, award-winning writer and podcaster. Twitch for Dummies coming soon, everybody. And of course, you can find me here on twitch.tv /TheTMonster. That's where I'll be streaming Destiny. I'll be doing Blind Leading the Blind.
Yep.
And of course, with Brandon, it becomes Teen Titan Tuesday. And
That's the new name for it.
We got to run with that.
Yeah.
And then, that's probably the best place to come and find me.
Yeah,
There you go.
so perfect. All right, so thanks so much for everyone for listening and for watching. If you want to be able to subscribe, go to youtube.com/snowball. Make sure you like all my videos and comment and subscribe there. Click the notification bell so you can be notified as to when I'll be putting out new videos. And
It's a trap!
it is a trap. I trapped actually some people by you. At one point, you could win an Assassin's Creed Odyssey game, but that's over now. You can actually be able to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Steve Saylor. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and for watching. If you watch us on Twitch, and as always, I remain obediently yours. Bye, everyone.
Unleash the fury!